Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Infinity News. I'm your host, Luke. This past Sunday at Hampshire, we lost power for a bit, which was caused, according to a rumor a writer heard, by a barn set ablaze on Route 116. My theory is that the power company just bounced Hampshire's check. Tonight at Hampshire, there's going to be a cool and fun show set up by the Vibe Committee, 8 p.m. in the Ruse Roadhouse. They got Eliza and the Organics, Lip Critic, Austin Zaff, and Louise I Have No Teeth. That's Mixed Nuts, y'all. Also at Mixed Nuts, tomorrow from 12 to 2 p.m., there will be expired condom art making with the Chemsex Monologues people. It's a show written by Patrick Cash, being produced for Hampshire's stage next semester, March 26th to 28th. It was written as a commentary on the social use of methamphetamine, GHB, and mephedrone and queer hookup culture, explored in 5 scenes threaded through one another. The Chemsex Monologues premiered at the European Chemsex Forum 2016 before transferring to the King's Head Theatre in May of that year. This iteration will be the U.S. premiere, extending a conversation overseas to American audiences. Also happening this weekend in theater is Illusory Life, a Div 3 production written and directed by Ili Zhang. The doors will be opening at 7:45 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's being held in EDH, and I'm sorry, hold on. Breaking news, Illusory Life has sold out of tickets on brownpapertickets.com, and therefore the only tickets available will be at the door, so get there early, folks. Other events this week at Hampshire include the weekly office hours with the president from 8:30 to 10 a.m. on Wednesday in his office at the Cole Science Center. And if that ends up stressing you out, there's open yoga at the dance studio from 10:30 to 11:50. Also next week, on November 12th, there will be an alum career talk with Will Galperin, the senior art director at Snap, and that's Snapchat. If you're thinking about going into media or have an interest, this could be very valuable, so be sure to check it out. Here at Infinity, we will be uploading our interview with the president this evening in 2 parts. This will be the first in a 3-part series, and for the second part, we call out to you, the students, and anyone interested in asking a question to him or responding to what he said in the interview. We'll be using a Google form and a submission box in the library basement to collect these responses, which will be adapted into video format. They can be anonymous if you want, or they can be public. Also with Infinity News, or Infinity in general, we are still organizing Open Air. We will be creating a contact sheet and a poster soon, so keep your eyes peeled. And that's all for Hampshire News, my folks. And now to Patti and Comac with the news. National.
Hello, Hampshire. I'm Patti.
And I'm Comac. We're here to highlight a few key events that occurred in the world recently.
The long-term effects of Flint, Michigan's long-standing water crisis are undeniable. Many parents have provided anecdotal evidence of children's decreased performance. Many parents have provided anecdotal evidence of children's decreased performance in school, erratic behaviors, and other health problems. The NY Times estimate that Flint's exposed nearly 30,000 school children to a neurotoxin known to have detrimental effects on children's developing brains and nervous systems. And apparently, the Flint School District's portion of students in the special education program has increased by 1/3 since the water crisis became public. Congress has agreed to fund 40% of Flint's special education costs, but apparently funding is still tight.
A Mexican-American Mormon family was brutally attacked in northern Mexico near the border. It is likely the work of 2 warring cartels, though it is still unclear why the family was caught in the crossfire. Perhaps their vehicle was simply mistaken for the target vehicle by gunmen. Either way, Mexican citizens express fear and revulsion at this act of terrible violence to women and children in broad daylight. The pressure is on President Obrador to prove that his method of addressing the root cause of poverty, rather than waging a war on drugs, is in fact effective. Due to the family's dual citizenship, the U.S. and Mexican governments are collaborating to investigate this crime.
The mayor of a small town in Bolivia, Patricia Arce, has been attacked by opposition protesters who dragged her through the streets barefoot, covered her in red paint, and forcibly cut her hair.
This is the latest in a series of violent clashes between government supporters and opponents in the wake of controversial presidential elections.
The aggression first began when a group of anti-government protesters was blocking a bridge in Binto, a small town in Cochabamba province in central Bolivia, as part of their ongoing demonstrations following the presidential elections on October 20th.
Rumors quickly spread that 2 opposition protesters had been killed nearby in clashes with supporters of incumbent President Evo Morales, prompting an angry group to march to the town hall.
The protesters accused Mayor Arce of having bussed in supporters of the president to try to break up the blockade which they had set up and blamed her for. Amid shouts of "murderess, murderess," masked men dragged her through the streets barefoot to the bridge. There they made her kneel down, cut her hair, and doused her in red paint. They also forced her to sign a resignation letter.
Miss Arce was eventually handed over to the police, who took her to a local health center.
We await further updates.
Over in Australia, more than 80 blazes are raging across the state of New South Wales.
The authorities state that the number of emergency level bushfires are unprecedented.
Gusty winds and up to 35 degrees Celsius heat have exacerbated the fires, many of which are in drought-affected areas.
At one point, 17 emergency level fires were burning simultaneously across NSW.
People were warned to seek shelter from fires rather than flee, as it was now too late to leave. Apart from that, emergency warnings were also issued on Friday for bushfires burning in Queensland and Western Australia.
Australian authorities and scientists worry that Australia's fire season risks growing longer and more intense due to climate change.
Authorities have deployed more than 1,000 firefighters and 70 aircrafts to save as many people as they could.
That's all for the news, folks. I'm Pati.
And I'm Comac. This has been Infinity News.